Welcome everyone to the DKMR $1,000 Cup. We are live and getting ready to begin the semifinal matches in this tournament. It all started out with 256 players in an open bracket with 16 seeds. The prize pool is $1,000 with $700 going to first place, $250 to second place, $50 to third, and $25 to fourth. Our first match, our first semifinals match, will be Route 60 versus Fnatic, Caldi, and then DKMR Varanus versus Coast Impact. And I am joined once again by Disciple. How's it going, man? Oh wait, I can't hear you. Hold on a second. You're muted, buddy.
Still muted. There we go.
Boom.
I'm glad to be back. Glad you guys can hear me too, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, it's a little bit of a step away from the weekly invitationals we've been doing, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're seeing some familiar faces. We just saw Sixo a couple of weeks ago, and now he's going to be back now in this cup, competing for $1,000, which is such an amazing prize to go ahead and win from the safety of your own home, comfort of playing a game you love, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun today.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. And to mention this, guys, this was a 256-player open bracket. We had dozens and dozens of countries represented from all over the world. We had China to Hong Kong, Japan and the Philippines, Singapore and Russia, and all over Europe, with Germany all the way to England. And then from America, we had from Argentina and Mexico all the way up to Canada. The whole world was represented in this tournament. And at the end of the day, it once again comes down to NA versus Europe. We've got an NA semifinals and a Europe semifinals. It's going to be a fantastic event. And just to note, guys, DKMR Varanus is the only player to make it from the open bracket to the Final Four, going 6-1. And let me jump into that really quickly here. You can see the final 16 here. These guys are allowed to bring any decks they want for each opponent, new decks for each opponent, but all those decks were submitted to me in advance. And I want to mention here, guys, a big thank you to DKMR and all of their sponsors for helping us put on this event. That is Hearth 2P, Waypoint Meter, and Gunners. This is coming up on DKMR's 1-year anniversary in November. They're the most seasoned team in Hearthstone. They were founded first, the first team in Hearthstone, founded in November of 2013. And I want to talk a little bit about that team. Something just to mention here, guys, as we go through the brackets, that there are so many great players playing these brackets. An example of this premium membership, you can see here, DKMR, is CGS Songbird. This player is being currently coached by the DKMR players previous to this tournament, and CGS Songbird took out Kibler and Luigi's 3-2 and 3-1 respectively, and then barely lost out to Impact 2-3, and almost made it to the top 16, or excuse me, almost made it to the Final Four. So if you're interested in getting better, you can get coaching from the DKMR players. It's a really worthwhile investment. You should really check it out. Let's just talk a little bit about the brackets again. All of these players that we're playing, here we go. We have Sixo, who is the here at the number 2 spot. Sixo took out Firebat 3-1. We have Sixo taking out Schismatron 3-1, and then taking out Ignite 3-1. We also have Caldi in the number 5 spot. Caldi here took out Crumps 3-1. Then Caldi took out Vanilla Titan 3-2, and then Caldi took out 3-2 Alesh, a well-known player, well-known pro. So it's going to be 6-0 versus Caldi in our semifinals match, and Impact versus Varanus in our other semifinals match. And those will both be best of 5s. Then we'll be jumping into a best of 7. So a lot of great games for you today. That'll be 2 best of 5s and a best of 7. Really excited. So let me let you get in here. I had a lot to say. So what are your thoughts on all that?
You know, I think it's exciting. I think it's cool to have these opportunities for just anyone to enter in. What we saw, there were a lot of names we haven't quite heard of competing against names that we have, and it's a really exciting experience for anyone who hasn't had a chance to get into the tournament scene to be able to play against these top players, to have a chance at $1,000. Everyone had an equal chance here to compete through the bracket and to make it to these Final Four. What we're seeing in these Final Four are players who have been in top tournament play time and time again, which makes sense because they have the experience, they have the play and the know-how. But it doesn't mean that there's no chance for another one of these open bracket contestants to be able to go ahead and join in, compete your way through, and try and fight your way to the top.
Guys, this is game 1, the best of 5, Route 6-0 versus Caldi, and let me make sure that I have these right. Looks like I do. Great. And I just have to fix this.
All right, so getting right in, we're going to see some post-nerf Hunter up against Paladin, which were 2 decks that we mentioned right beforehand that we could potentially see in the tournament, so they're going to knock them right out for us. This is a bit of a dream start here for 6-0. He has the Undertaker turn 1 and the Death Rattle to place on turn 2 with the Haunted Creeper. Even if he hadn't drawn Haunted Creeper, Web Spinner would be perfect.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So go ahead. I'm going to fix these overlays, get them just right for us.
This is a really strong start. He's got a handful of Death Rattles. He can buff up his Undertaker to a 4-5 on turn 3 with a stacked board. And there's not a lot that Paladin can do to remove early threats. He can't play a minion on his first turn, and on his second turn, there's not much more he can do than make a dude. He can't even coin out a taunt yet because he doesn't have the 4 mana for this engine. So he's already facing off against a 2-3 and a 2-2. And with another Death Rattle in hand, 6-0's board is getting well out of control. This is potentially it's very early, but it might actually be a bit of an unbeatable start. It's insane.
Yeah, that's a steamroll right there. I mean, you've got 1 Death Rattle in, you got 3 more Death Rattles coming. You're going to be able to play 2 of those minions if you want next turn. Wow, this is a really fantastic start from 6-0.
I can see 6-0's face right now, and he has got a bit of a goofy smile on because this is exactly what you're hoping for. He'll qualitying now so that he can hope to coin out a Consecration next turn. Yeah. But there's going to be 2 Death Rattles out on the board, which means that the Undertaker won't even die to the Consecration, and he's going to have some spiders after the Consecration.
What a start! I mean, this is what the post-nerf Hunter needs, right? They don't have the early Unleash. They often don't have the Unleash or the Buzzard at all. So wow.
Yeah, definitely. They don't have the draw mechanic, but they still have the few things that made them strong with the nice early drops and some really efficient answers to big threats with the Freezing Trap or with the Hunter's Mark. So you're not running the Buzzard. You're likely not running Unleash the Hounds. And if you... Ooh, okay. So he is going to be able to take out the board.
Wow. Well, most of the board. Not
well,
entirely.
right. The important parts, I would say.
Yeah. He silenced the minion that's going to get bigger, although another Undertaker was drawn, and he got rid of 2 of the larger minions, but he didn't bring out the spiders, which is fine. He's okay with that.
Well, this is still,
yeah.
I think, going really well for 6-0
No,
because he has the
absolutely.
perfect draws. A second Undertaker, and then 2 more Death Rattles to buff them up. He can just throw his... I would throw the spiders into the Wild Pyromancer, of course, because if you don't, then your entire board is cleared by... Oh no, actually, Undertakers would still survive to Pyro Consecration, which is insane.
Yeah, the Undertaker will both survive that, absolutely.
You've got to consecrate. You remove 5 damage from the board, which is nice, but you don't take care of these Undertakers, which are the big threat.
I mean, Caldi's trying to buy time. He's feverishly spending every card he can just to survive. And of course the Huffer comes down, exactly what you do not want to see from Caldi. 6-0 is grinning ear to ear if he wasn't already, as you previously mentioned, Disciple. And wow, 5 health we're at. 5 health.
I mean, he's going for the turn 6 win, and there's not a lot that's going to be able to stop him. We didn't manage to see what secret was drawn there, but it likely doesn't matter unless he's running something like a Snipe, which could help him take out this Engine Shield Master.
Yeah.
But it's not going to come into play.
Kind of a little bit of a T6, if you will. Alright, here we go.
Man.
Healing up to 11 and the Senjin. It's not a bad response. You're going to get down the charge minion. That's going to allow for... Yep, that's going to allow for the killing of the Senjin. And that's going to allow for 7 damage. Plus, not... Oh, look at that. 7 plus a guaranteed 2 more from the Leper Gnome. And then 2 more from the Hero Power. So, he says he made a mistake. Oh, because he would have buffed his... Undertaker. Okay, so he could have gotten 1 more point of damage.
Right. In the end, it's likely not going to matter, especially when the concede comes out right there. There's the turn 6 win.
Yeah, wow. GG, guys. Let me go back to... Let's not take a look at those decks. Oh, you're on Fuzzy. Now you're not. Here we go. I wonder how long you were on Fuzzy. We'll see. Probably not that long. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think they saw me beforehand.
Good, fantastic. We've got the next set of decks coming in. We won't talk about them until they're picked just yet. But effectively, Caldi needs to find something that's going to stop that Hunter that has just not only got a great start, but in general is a very fast, very aggressive, very dangerous deck.
Yeah, it is. It is a pain to deal with. If you can stabilize out early, get some nice taunts, maybe get some early answers to their minions, and keep them down. They don't have the broken draw mechanic they had before, so you can kind of just wear them out until they're only drawing one card a turn and they're playing off the top. Once you have 100 at that point, you've actually put yourself in a really good spot. So I could see maybe an incredibly safe deck like Priest or Warrior coming out, or maybe you just try to out aggro them with something like a Token Druid or another kind of face aggro deck that might be able to get through it, since they might not be running any taunts like with the Houndmaster.
Yes, and as we get into game number 2, I will fix that overlay real quick. We have Hunter versus a Priest. So Kaldi coming out with the Priest, not bad.
Yeah, I think Priest is a really nice response. It can do pretty well against the Hunter. You have some really nice board clears with this Wild Pyromancer, with the Akanai Soul Priest, and usually at least one copy of Holy Nova. And you have some awesome self-heals to counter their hero power, which is a nice way to keep yourself alive while you try to outdraw them and eventually take them out in the late game. You have so much value in this matchup that you're usually feeling pretty good, but look at this hand once again from 6-0. What deity did he pay? Did he have to sell his soul to some sort of demonic being to get the Undertaker coin Undertaker turned to mad scientist?
Oh my god, this is brutal. Brutal. I mean, like the Priest was praying he had a way to get rid of one of these 2 minions on turn 2. He doesn't. He can drop a Pyromancer, which does nothing, or he can heal his opponent out of spite, out of hate.
Yeah. You throw out the Light Shall Burn You.
Yeah.
Ooh. And if you just saw what he drew a Knife Juggler, which I want to say tells us that there is a copy of Unleash the Hounds.
Okay, let's take a look. See, this is 6-0, right? Let me take a quick look here.
Because if you're looking for a 2-drop that synergizes with Unleash the Hounds, and you don't have Starving Buzzard anymore, why not just put a Knife Juggler?
You're right.
I can't imagine another reason for Knife Juggler.
No,
to be
you're absolutely right. You're dead on with that. He's got 2 bows, 2 animals, 2 kills, 2 Unleash, 1 Hound, Lotheb, and a nice old Black Knight just in case. So really interesting deck choice here. We're seeing. I haven't seen this deck yet. Have you seen this deck in tournament play?
You know, I've seen it around. I haven't quite seen it in a tournament yet since the 100 nerfs were so recent. Maybe someone was running it at BlizzCon, but unfortunately it was such a long tournament that I didn't get to watch every round.
17 hours, crazy.
But right now, this is such a good spot for 6-0.
Yeah,
these are 2 perfect draws.
Kaldi healing up for 2, and of course hero power going to the face, and you know, you could drop the juggler. But at this point, that might be considered an overextension, and 6-0 decides not to drop it.
Yeah, he's too afraid of the Holy Nova here, and he knows that you get absolutely no value from throwing down a Knife Juggler. And so he made the very right call there, and now he has minions in his hand that he can throw down once again.
Got an Emperor Cobra. Not the absolute worst thing you can get.
Definitely. It can compete with basically any late game drop from the Priest. I think it's really nice. It is a bit rough if it's stolen away from a Cobble Shadow Priest, but you can't always play against that, especially when you're running a deck like this with so many 1 or 2 attack minions. And
it looks like the best plays a Belcher here, but we know that Emperor Cobra is going to one-shot that Belcher. Really nice trade for 3 mana here.
Yeah, that's very true. This is a really nice start.
Actually, the best beast he could have gotten. Now that I'm kind of putting it all together,
probably.
I mean, why would you Hunter's Mark this? Why wouldn't you save that Hunter's Mark? I mean, you could also Black Knight. Okay, so he's gonna.
I think you Black Knight it.
Yeah, I think for the value of getting the 4/5 on board, you bring the Black Knight out. But other than that, it would have been a great play to use the Cobra.
Right. I mean, Cobra's really strong here, but if you have another perfect response like Black Knight, you know that there's nothing better you're gonna Black Knight unless the Priest is running a copy of Defender of Argus, and then you happen to, Black Knight something else, but this is absolutely what he needs.
What do you think about using the Juggler kill the 1/2 and then the Cobra to kill the 1/3 because it'll stay alive? Okay, he's gonna use the 1/1s. Okay, that's fine.
Right, the 1/1s are likely to die to maybe a second copy of Wild Pyromancer or Holy Nova, so just trading them away now gets you the best value out of it.
Interesting. Okay, I don't know that Priest can do 1 point of damage, so I would have liked the juggler there, but I see what you're saying.
But he knows his opponent is running Wild Pyromancer.
Oh, you're right.
He already
you're right.
played
You're
one.
right. You're right. You're right. Excuse me. He does have that 1 point of damage. Thank you. Nicely,
Yeah, I think that would have been it.
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, this is such a good board, and we know that his opponent doesn't have any more Holy Novas. If he did, then this might be a bit of the wrong play, since you don't have anything in your hand after you have it cleared. But since there's no clear from your opponent, he is in a bad spot.
Yep, he's gonna powered shield the Injured Blade Master. He gets a Circle of Healing, does not have the Akanai, and the Shadow of Death does nothing. We have a concede. Kaldi is down 0-2. 6-0 taking a 2-0 lead in this best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw those two hands that he opened with, I'm not surprised at all that he came out to a lead in both of those games. That was an insane start, having the Undertaker and multiple Death Rattles in hand both times, and he's just showing the strength of this Hunter. But what we saw was a bit of the weakness of the Hunter. If he had had his board cleared by a second Holy Nova or by an Akanai Circle, he would have been out of cards.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And we have here, it looks like a hand lock as the final deck choice for Kaldi. He needs to go 3-0. He needs to reverse all kill 6-0 here. Do you think it's possible?
You know, I think it's possible if he had a slightly better matchup. I don't think that Handlock is going to do too well against Hunter, since Hunter is really great at dealing out quite a bit of damage consistently, and it's really great at dealing with huge minions like the Giants with things like Hunter's Mark and Freezing Trap.
So we do have a decent starting hand for the Hunter, but nothing like we saw in games 1 and 2. So as we get the mulligans finalizing here, Jiraxis, Owl, Defender, and I forget what that last one was.
Sludge Belcher.
Okay, you don't really want Jiraxis, but you've got some early stuff here. You even could potentially challenge this minion. Oh, he gets a Hellfire. I was going to say you could silence, but he's probably just going to... Yeah.
Yeah, I think in this matchup you probably save Ironbeak Owl to silence an Undertaker if it gets a little bit out of hand. You can kind of hold on to it since the 2 damage from the Leper Gnome isn't going to be extraordinarily important.
Yeah.
But this is still an amazing start from 6-0. He's got the Mad Scientist out and the bow in hand, which is the perfect combination since you get so much value from the trap, both getting it for free and then giving your weapon extra durability. He's already taken his opponent down to 19, and he has a lot of damage in hand.
Yeah, and he's got a Freezing Trap to sort of prevent anything from attacking his minions once it comes onto the board.
Yeah, I would expect to see actually the Earthring Farseer, and then you could potentially send it into the Freezing Trap and then get it back for 5 mana, which is probably the best minion that you can get Freezing Trapped, even though it's still a frustrating experience. You can heal again.
You know, he did see... wait, did he see a trap? No, he didn't see any traps in the first 2 games, but he sees the bows, so he knows that the bows pair with the traps. So I like that Earthring play. And now we've got another Death Rattle minion coming down, and he's going to have another Leper Gnome if he wants it, pushing down to 18 health, and Kaldi needs to stabilize here.
Yeah, he definitely needs a good way to come back. Hellfire is not a bad way to come back. You do take some damage from it, but you do remove a lot from your opponent's board. I don't know that he's removing enough from it, so he might opt to go for a coin Sludge Belcher here, which is another great way to stop your opponent. Hellfire could potentially get more value.
You could also, yeah, if you do this Sludge Belcher, unfortunately you use your coin. Next turn you won't be able to Shadow Flame. So there it goes, Hellfire down, and clears the board. He's at 13 health, and he's going to not be able to use his hero power much anymore if he wants to survive this matchup.
That's true, but he is getting very close to being able to throw a Molten Giant, and we know that 6-0 doesn't have a Hunter's Mark in his hand, so now we get to see a free Molten Giant come down along with a Defender of Argus.
That is ideal. I mean, if you're going to get low, you really want to make a big minion and pray to God they don't have a way to clear it. So that will stabilize him unless we have a fantastic draw coming out from 6-0. So let's see. Let's watch him play this Molten Defender. Is there a potential... He could coin out for 2 more to silence the Leper Gnome. I know it makes sense a lot often to... he is going to do it. I like this. You're getting a little low. No reason not to get the extra buff on the Owl. Get 2 Taunters up. I think that's a good combo play despite not silencing maybe the most effective minion.
I definitely agree with you here. I think that was the right time to play Ironbeak Owl, even though you didn't try to silence Leper Gnome early on. Now it's a lot more important to save that health. However, you are on so much of a timer, since even though you have Jiraxis up to 15, you can't use him for 4 more turns.
Yeah, that's probably what he's thinking. How do I survive for 4 turns, right? That's what he's thinking right now.
Right. He's really happy that his opponent doesn't have a Hunter's Mark. That's what we saw when he attacked the Leper Gnome into the Ironbeak Owl, that there wasn't going to be one. And now this is a really nice minion to get back into your hand. Probably the best next to the Earthling Farseer, because you can re-taunt up your minions, even though it costs 6 mana.
Do you trade here and buff up your minion again, or do you Soulfire and risk losing a critical card? Because I feel like the Soulfire keeps so much health on your minion, considering it hasn't been Hunter's marked already. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I would Soulfire here, because you know that your opponent can take out your Molten Giant with his minion and his bow, and then you're left completely naked.
Yeah. Soulfire Siphon, even better.
Siphon Soul. Yeah, Siphon Soul
way
much better.
Way better. That's the idea we were going for. I don't think I didn't notice that in his hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the worst. Oh, but the worst minion that 6-0 could have gotten there was the Leok. It has synergy with Unleash the Hounds, but it doesn't have impact on the turn it's played, which is going to be a pretty rough spot for him.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so now we have a potential here to... he's 2 turns away from potentially Jiraxising. So it's about just clearing this minion out and keeping as much health on your giant as possible. So you can Defender up if you would like, to make this giant a little bit bigger, but it does make sense to save it to taunt up later if you get into a bad spot. I'm liking the Sludge, and as I try to get that out, here it comes down.
Yeah, definitely. Sludge is really nice here. You know you can't life tap.
No!
Yeah, actually, I was about to say you can life tap, because Kill Command kills you anyway.
Yep.
And that was... I mean, the top deck, I think 6-0's got to be so happy about his draws this series.
I was really sad. I wanted to see more games in this first semifinals match, but 6-0 will have none of that. It is over. 3-0ing Kaldi. Really strong first match from 6-0. Doesn't even show his other decks.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the Hunter nerf, Blizzard. It still goes to show that it's still a powerful deck. You don't have the insane draw mechanic, and it can run out of steam, but if you get a really great draw, you have such perfect answers, you have such huge threats, and you can steamroll a series 3-0. We're going to see 6-0 now in the finals competing for $1,000, but before that, we are going to play our second semifinals match to see who he faces off against.
And that will be DKMR Varanus and Coast Impact. So it's going to be a great best of 5 here in just a moment. And we have Varanus playing with a Druid versus Impact playing with a Hunter. So in this mulligan here, we have Varanus on the bottom. We have Coast Impact on the top. Looks like a very similar type of Hunter, right? Yes, it does. And we talked about this Druid. This could still be the sort of token Druid, even though there's wild growth in here. We've seen that. So, what are you thinking?
Yeah, like we mentioned last week, the latest innovation in this token Druid deck is to run Wild Growth instead of the Echoing Ooze. And a lot of the decks, I believe Kalento brought this in, or are now running Cenarius to kind of pad out their late game to build up their board and make it able to trade a bit better. Right now, there's some really great responses. We actually saw Varanus keep both Wraths in his opening hand along with the Wild Growth so that he can save his health to remove some of these early threats instead of having to hero power everything or having to trade in minions. Wrath can be a really efficient way to remove threats early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, get out there. Help us out. I just went and took a look at the Twitch real quick, and I took a look at the Twitter real quick, and we still got the same kind of low 300s. We want to boost that up. Do us a favor, guys. We know you're enjoying these games. Help us out. Just tweet about this for us. We really appreciate it.
But in the meantime, it's still going to be a very exciting tournament. We can see a phenomenal curve coming out from the Hunter. He had the 1, 2, 3. Turn 4 might be a little sticky, but fortunately he got a 2-drop from his web spinner, so he should be able to throw out a Raptor and hero power.
Bloodfin Raptor. Talk to me about this card. What do you think about this choice?
I mean, he chose to get it from web spinner.
He made no choice whatsoever.
Yeah, no. But it's fine. It's actually one of the better cards he could have gotten because it's a really strong minion to play out on 2. You don't put it in your deck because it doesn't have too much of an impact when it comes to you know, death rattles or battle cries, but it's just a strong minion that can fend for itself, and that he can use potentially to trade off into this Spectral Knight with or he's gonna get taken out by the Wrath.
Yeah, a three damage Wrath is nice for the Hunter, at least, because he doesn't get to draw a card. The Druid doesn't. And that's what I get for taking a look at Twitter and our Twitch chat while the game is going on. So
yeah, no, not a huge deal. Right now, Hunter's feeling pretty good. He knows that he doesn't have a great way to remove this Spectral Knight. He's going to have to run both minions into it, which is a pretty good trade here for the Druid. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Spectral Knight run in there along with the 1 damage Wrath. I would be surprised to see something like a 5-mana Innervate. But, you know, pros always continue to astound me.
He cannot Wrath at 7 right now, so it would have to be Hero Power or...
Oh, right. I meant, yeah, Hero Power, Spectral Knight, of course.
And he chooses to go face, and he's going to wait till next turn to deal with that Loatheb, unless Loatheb chooses to clear or attack in. So, okay, so, you know, I'm okay with that. At 22 health, and he's got a Scenarios in hand, which in 2 turns, well, actually, next turn he'll be able to use with Innervate. I think that's a nice play.
I'm wondering if he's considering throwing out Black Knight just as a minion, because you've already seen one Animal Companion. You're not sure if your opponent is running Hound Masters. There might not be a taunt for you to destroy. You might just need it to be able to trade on the minions, but he's going to decide against that, just Hero Power.
I mean, clearing a minion is fine. I would have been okay with the Black Knight here. I think there is good value on it, considering the deck you're up against. As you mentioned, that there won't be as many taunts.
Yeah, it's an expensive Yeti, but it puts a minion on the board, which is what you need to be doing pretty much every turn as this Druid if you're going to contest this Hunter.
I wonder if this deck's playing Hound Masters, right? Yeah, impacts.
Oh, okay. I wasn't exactly sure. Some of the decks haven't been, but this Innervate Scenarios is going to be really strong.
Yeah, really nice.
To keep the Savannah High main off of his face for a little while.
Yeah, Impact is running a Hound Master, so if eventually the High Main gets Hound Mastered, that Black Knight will look like a genius keep.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's really strong, and I would say that Hunter from a few weeks ago would definitely have been running it. I've seen a few of the Hunters not running it. We saw one of the decks from last week titled No 4-Drops.
Yes.
Was one of those examples.
Okay, do you swipe this? Or do you... Oh, wait, excuse me. When your turn comes on, do you swipe this or do you Wrath it for 3 and then clear with your 2/2? Let's see. If the 2/2s both get cleared, which they are with the weapon, then he's actually not going to have... Ooh, okay, wait. Was that a...
It was explosive.
Okay. So
but his opponent is going to think it's Freezing Trap, and so he knows he doesn't want to attack with Scenarios.
Yeah,
and right
that's
now
gonna be brutal. He's trying to
not
game
looking
him
too
out.
good.
Yeah, so I think you can swipe and Wrath, which will clear both of these minions. Yes.
If you use Scenarios to attack into the high main, then okay, phew. So he wasn't sure if it was going to be freezing or not, since we've only seen one in the game. He's very fortunate that it was in fact explosive, and now he's going to Wrath for 1 on one of the hyenas and then swipe the Loatheb. Probably going to Hero Power down the other hyena.
Yep, he did get a keeper now, but I still like that swipe. Cling down. Now he can trade that other minion if he likes. Yep. So,
and he keeps himself alive for now, which is really nice, but he's still down at 7 health, which isn't too hard for the Hunter to deal. If he gets a kill command, he immediately wins. If he rolls a Huffer, he immediately wins.
Yeah. I'm going to take a look at this Druid deck here as we're watching this flare come out. Haunted Creepers. Yeah. Ancient. Yeah,
I think
it's a slightly later game Druid, as we can see from some of the cards in hand. Not
yeah, definitely. It can compete well into the late game, but it can lose out early if you don't get out your minions. He was really hoping for some death rattles.
He needs to heal big time because he's not going to finish this off.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has no way to do that.
He can't do it. Even the hero power will go down to 1 after he attacks in, unless he trades, which he'll most likely do.
And he can't taunt up, but even if he could taunt up, the Leper Gnome's death rattle plus the hero power would kill him.
Yep.
And so he has lost.
I think that is it. I think Hunter is going 4-0 from different games, of course, but the Hunter's showing a lot of strength here. And Varanus goes down in game number 1. Impact taking our first game in our second semifinals match.
Yeah, that was a really, really strong game. A really nice curve from Hunter. I hope that we get to see a Hunter game where he doesn't curve perfectly, so that's we can actually see another deck win besides Hunter.
Yeah.
But that web spinner on the turn 1 into Mad Scientist into Animal Companion is insane. Only rivaled by a double Undertaker into Leper Gnome, Web Spinner, Mad Scientist, Haunted Creeper. It's a strong deck right now.
Yeah, it is.
It's a real strong deck.
God, just think about the thought of how this particular deck is doing so well post a patch specifically designed to hurt this class.
You took away the draw mechanic, but you didn't take away... In order to benefit from a draw mechanic, you also have to have a strong deck. And so it was already a strong deck. You took away the draw mechanic, but the deck itself stayed strong.
Into the mulligans. Okay, we have a warrior, which I think is a great choice versus this kind of a hunter coming in as Varanus' second choice. He's got the cleave in there, which leads me to believe he's got enough early game removal to fight off that pressure.
This is a real good start. Almost as good as you could hope for. There are a couple minions. Oh my goodness. This is basically the dream start.
Oh my god. Undertaker, Web Spinner.
But it's Undertaker right into a cleave. And that means with one card, you've taken out both Undertakers, and you have seized this game for yourself. This is a perfect
look
cleave.
Look at that.
And you have both Fiery War Axes. This is the dream start for the Warrior.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. This is going to be a game.
So we have a fantastic start from the Hunter, and then Kaldi smacks him down, says, I'm not having it. We're bringing down an Acolyte of Pain. He's going to start drawing on this 1/1 spider, and he's got two War Axes.
He would love to draw off the 1/1 spider. Unfortunately, he runs right into the bow, which is going to only allow him to draw one card from Acolyte.
Which I
really
think
nice answer.
The Warrior is completely fine with. No damage on the face, other than that one from the Web Spinner. And he is already stabilized. Really nicely done.
Yeah, there are a couple different choices. He could have potentially just tried to axe the Web Spinner and wait until you know you can get 2 cards from the Acolyte of Pain. But you're right, against a Hunter, trying to just keep the damage off your face and trying to put things out on the board early as possible should be good enough for you.
And he's got another weapon, so he's still got 3 charges left on these axes. And I think it makes sense to keep the Taskmaster in the Execute for some mid-game pressure that might be coming your way you want to get rid of.
Are you saying he would consider Taskmaster execute the Mad Scientist?
No, I'm saying he could have Taskmastered last turn to get rid of
the Web Spinner. Of course. You're right. That makes plenty of sense. Right.
It's early for me. I did wake up just about an hour ago, but it's not that early.
Okay. All right. Fine. No, that's perfect. Right now, he just equips the bow. He knows that his opponent isn't running a Harrison or an Ooze, and he equips the axe, and now he can throw down what I would expect to be a Cairn. Since there aren't too many times where you'll be able to throw down a Cairn against a Hunter, since you're usually a little bit more pressured for your life, but right now it feels pretty good. And
the Death Rattle on that Death's Bite will finish off the Tiger, the Stranglethorn, if he attacks him with the Karn. So.
Ooh, a really great Houndmaster top deck, though.
Yeah. If Varanus didn't have a Black Knight.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
Black
Knight, if Varanus didn't have a Black Knight.
Oh, here it comes. I know it's coming down. Oh, bam. Hunter looks like he might be going down this game, which is nice because we do want to have some good matches in this semifinals, and it looks like we have ourselves a match.
That's very true. Now what he's considering is, how do I take out Houndmaster? Do I attack him with my minion? Do I attack his face with mine and execute?
I don't think you attack in with Karn. What if it's a freezing trap? You don't want to have to pay 6 mana or 8 mana for that.
That's very true. It could be a freezing trap. We haven't seen another trap come into play yet.
Ghostface, okay, so he knows it's a freezing trap. So I think you want to attack in with your Black Knight.
That would definitely make sense. You have an 8 mana Black Knight, but it can have the impact coming down if your opponent rolls something like a Misha. Which actually, no, it's going to be a Huffer.
Huffer and a Leper. Okay, and a Web Spinner and then Hero Power. Look at this. So the question is, do you go face here? And I think he has to, right?
Right, yeah. He threw everything at face because he has to race down his opponent. Yep. You have a lot of damage, but you also don't have a lot of cards. So if your opponent draws things like Sludge Belcher or like Shield Block, then you have the potential to bring this game back.
Yeah.
And
Okay, he's got an
Unstable Ghoul is a
Ghoul.
perfect
Not bad.
minion.
Not bad, yeah. So he can actually Taskmaster one minion, know the other will die from the Unstable. Okay, here comes the Black Knight back into hand. And now I believe Karn's going to trade in, right? As the Unstable Ghoul comes down. Oh, actually, if he clears both other minions, then no, because he can use his weapon.
The bow.
Yep, the bow.
Right.
You got to get rid of him with Karn here. So gets rid of them. He gets Bane, which is nice, and both these other minions are going to die, so he doesn't have to worry about that. Do you drop down Sylvanas then?
I think you have to pretty much armor up every turn to try and counter your opponent's hero power.
That's a good
Say
point.
if he could be sitting on one kill command, and you know if he has something like hero power kill command to deal 7 damage right away, could be pretty fearsome.
So armor up, War Accent in that case, go to face, and yeah, I don't think there's any reason to use the Taskmaster here.
Wait, actually, even if your opponent has kill command, they win. Yeah. You throw both minions in, you kill command first. But fortunately for Anis, Impact wasn't able to draw it.
How would he have thrown both? Oh, because of the Leper Gnome Death Rattle? Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
Actually, even without Leper Gnome Death Rattle, you still have your bow, hero power, and kill command. You would have just kill commanded before you threw the web spinner.
Okay.
You're doing a lot of damage to your opponent. You're not killing him, though, and Warrior's pretty good at living if they can get something like Shield Block, something like Alex Straza. He needs one of those 2 cards.
Oh my god.
Or else he actually loses.
Oh my god, yeah, he's down to 2, and hero powering up will not save him. Alex Straza.
Ysera has the battle cry. Has the battle cry lose on your next turn.
God, he needed that Alex Straza so badly. Don't know that he's running it. No.
Oh, okay, not even running an Alex Straza, which is an interesting decision.
So that if he had put Alex Straza in place of Ysera, that would have been a win, basically a stay alive condition.
And he had a bit of an unlucky draw. He wasn't able to get any of his Sludge Belchers. He wasn't able to get any shield blocks.
I'm trying to think if there's any way he can do this. He can Taskmaster. He can't Grom. He can't.
No, your opponent has lethal in from hero power and bow.
Yep.
And even if he's able to clear this entire board, he would still be able to kill him just with hero power bow. And so this is game 2 going over to Impact.
This Hunter is so strong. Wow. Game number 2, and another strong counter to the Hunter goes down. Blizzard.
That is
Blizzard.
That is painful. Even with the perfect start, you had Cleave, you had double Fire War Axe, you were able to get your Unstable Ghoul, you were able to get everything you ever wanted, and Hunter was still able to come through with the win.
Wow. Oh my god. An impressive game by Impact.
Yeah, impressive that he was able to draw so well. I would definitely say that. There aren't that many decisions to make, at least from what we saw. It was basically like, do I trade or do I go face? But you're a hunter, so you just hit him in the face and you win the game.
Yeah.
But so now we're up 2-0 in the semifinals, 5-0 in the semifinals overall across both series. And let's see if we can find a deck to beat Hunter. I wouldn't be surprised to see Priest, but there's definitely a lot of choices that can potentially make it.
Shaman.
And
this is a tough matchup. As Impact takes a 2-0, he's channeling his pro teammate Chalky Huffer to win. That's how he did it last game.
All right. I like seeing King Mukla in this Hunter deck. It's a really nice minion to get out early, and he's able to keep it in his starting hand. He can coin it out on turn 2, which could be incredibly strong to basically threaten any threat Shaman can throw down.
Mm-hmm.
Go
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the only detriment is the bananas can do pretty good work in buffing up whatever early minions Shaman has.
Yeah, you really did want an Earth Shock there to get rid of that Leper Gnome, but unfortunately didn't, so he brings down the Spider, and as Mukla comes down, the question is, does he, as you mentioned, use those bananas to make his Spider bigger, or does he bring down the Feral? I would like, I think you can banana and then Lightning Bolt, and that's not a bad play, and that will keep you at 3 mana next turn, but he's going to bring down the Ferals right now. So next turn he'll have 2 mana, so we can Lightning Bolt next turn in combination to finish off that Mukla. But we're gonna. This is
nice.
Yeah.
This is a really good way to think ahead. You can just go ahead and Lightning Bolt. You can throw down a banana on one of the spiders just to make it a little bit beefier. You might actually save it though. You might save it for the feral spirits so that they aren't taken out by the bow. And right now, I would just potentially. So you could either lightning bolt and then hit spiders to face, or you can put one banana on your spiders and trade in both spiders.
I think it's almost always lightning bolt because you know that at 5 mana you'll be down to 4 with the overload. That's fine, and you want to use those lightning bolts when the overload doesn't hurt you. So he doesn't trade his minions here. He keeps board presence, and next turn he'll have 4 mana again. In which case he will be able to feral and either banana or feral and lightning bolt.
All right. Yeah, in this case, he just used banana to push in for 2 extra damage overall because it'll probably be taken out by bow.
Oh, no. Here comes animal and, of course, a huffer. Wow, impact. Impressive. Impressive ability to draw huffer.
Huffer isn't always the best because it just gets taken out right now, and it was basically 3 mana, deal 4 damage to your opponent. I would think in this case, Misha would have been a little bit stronger since it's a little harder to deal with.
Would have gone down either way though to the minion though.
That's true. That's true. In this case, though, Varanus is able to keep a minion on the board.
I always feel like versus Shaman, the hunter just wants to do damage. It's not looking for sustain because the Shaman has no heal. And with another bow, with a hunted creeper, and coming down with a potential high main next turn, the hunter's in a really good spot. But Shaman does have answers to the current board.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that in this case, I don't know that you want to play the Azure, because Azure Drake just dies to the bow. But what's nice is that you know this is the second bow, and so if he's forced to attack here, he's lost all bow charges, and he didn't get any benefit from his traps.
Yeah, that's what Varanus is thinking. And next turn he can play Unbound and Feral to buff them up. And then the following turn he could Earthshock something. So he's going to potentially get 3 minions with some significant staying power.
Yeah, I think the Earthshock is going to be really nice up against this high main
This
in
is
the
a
future.
tricky turn though, because he can Earthshock this minion, but then he loses the Earthshock versus the high main. So and he doesn't know that a high main's in hand.
That's true, and I think for that reason, I wouldn't expect to see the Earthshock come out just on a 1/1. You keep the 2 spectral spiders from being created, but that's not your biggest worry in this matchup. You're much more afraid of 2 hyenas.
So the freezing trap goes down. He could have not attacked in, even though it is sort of a race. Okay, he's going to get rid of the creeper to get rid of the 1/1s. And then for 6 mana, he's going to clear. So he's looking to clear. He's not looking to prevent draw, which, hopefully he draws something bad. He does get a boar, right? Stone Tusk. So, okay. Well, the hunter's going to go face here because that trap was allowing for an additional charge. And now at 8 mana, the Shaman can actually play either the Unbound and a Defender, and then save the Ferals, or the Ferals and the Unbound. He got another trap down. He wants to trigger it, so he does trigger a freezing trap. So with that coming down, what do you think? Do you do the Unbound, or do you do the Ferals and the Defender? I think Ferals and Defender are better. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
now he's going to do Unbound Ferals. Okay.
Yeah, this is a really great way to build up your board. You're pretty sure your opponent isn't running things like Unleash the Hounds, so you're not too worried about throwing out multiple minions. And right now, you have a really, really good Lightning Storm in the future, since you know your minion's going to be buffed up, you know that you have spell power, you know that you have really good ways to deal with a potential flooded board. So right now, if you, I would say, oh man, you don't want to take the 6 to the face, but you want to take out
gets the
or you just draw the Earthshock and then you're good. That's all you need.
You can Defender up, you can Earthshock, you can even Rockbiter or Banana to get a little bit of extra push.
I think you can kill the spiders, Lightning Storm, Earthshock clears everything.
Oh, really? I was gonna actually Defender the Wrath of Air totem that gives it 1 attack, plus you can Rockbiter. So you can actually Rockbiter. Actually, I changed my mind. Yeah, you just want to Rockbiter the Wrath of Air here, and then Defender everything else. Yep, I like this.
Okay. All right.
Defender everything else. Oh, he chooses not to Defender. He Storms. Okay. Buffs the Unbound.
Oh.
Okay.
Wait, why did he Lightning Storm instead of, or why didn't he Lightning Storm to clear the high main? Because it would have had minimum 3 damage.
Yeah, I don't like that. You're right.
I mean, I guess that's only if he's afraid of Unleash the Hound, so he wanted to trade off a totem. But he could have saved Rockbiter, he could have saved the totem.
Yeah, I agree.
An interesting decision.
He chooses
for sure.
to clear the board, though. Yeah, he should have not attacked in with the Wrath of Air Totem, because he doesn't... I don't think there's an Unleash. I don't know that this deck looks like it has an Unleash. So, okay, now we're on to the Shaman, who has sort of stabilized, but he's got to clear a lot of this. You can Defender and clear 2 minions. Yeah, that's not bad. If you Defender up, you save your totem. So you use the Unbound to clear the 2/1, and use the Defender... excuse me, the Stoneclaw Totem to clear the 1/1, leave the Spider on board, and you can also totem up.
That's true. That's true. You definitely have a lot of options right now.
Fire Rally is more aggro though, if you want to go push for damage.
Yeah, you're not too worried about clearing his board necessarily. You can still Fire Elemental, or you can do it like you said. He's going to opt to Defender his Wrath of Air Totem as well, so that he has the additional health on it, and he's going to go bananas with Stoneclaw Totem.
But he is going face. But he is going face.
So
I think he's thinking next turn with the Fire Elemental, he can get 2 extra damage that's unexpected and possibly win.
Yeah. Well, 3 damage from the Fire Elemental.
Oh my god. Yes. 3 damage from the Fire Elemental.
Yeah, no, not a problem at all. Ooh, Stampeding Kodo is a pretty nice draw off of the Web Spinner, though, because you're able to kill 1 of these for free.
Okay. So he's got to clear the Misha, which will not allow him to push for lethal. What a great play.
Yeah, this is it's definitely strong from the Hunter. He's not looking too hot. He does have a Houndmaster for the Stampede Dakota, which will turn into a 5/7, which will be superb. But we know there's so much more from Shaman. He has 2 ways to deal 3 damage from hand. He has ways to draw, ways to limit his opponent's spells, and he potentially has some more burst in the deck with something like Alakir or Doomhammer.
Yeah, I think you have to keep your taunt at full health. I'm okay with trading. I'm okay with killing the boar here with the one. No, I changed my mind. Killed it with the Wrath of Air, and then bring down the Fire Elemental for face damage, because ultimately you're just trying to prevent the the Kodo from hitting your face, because Kodo plus a potential card plus hero power could kill you.
Right. Yeah. You clear the boar, and that will keep you safe from kill command.
Oh, God, he draws another taunt totem. Really nice.
Definitely. I think that this is Varanus' game to lose now.
Gets a kill command, but it's going to cost 8, and he's going to Houndmaster, and now we have another taunter out. But the question is, Lotheb. Yeah, he needs to get 1 more point of damage. He gets a Flame Tongue Totem. That will do it.
Yeah. Definitely enough damage.
The Fire Ellie will do it.
He actually doesn't even need it.
Yep.
That's just the perfect draw. He's able to kill off his 1 minion, which gives the Flame Tongue Totem benefit to the other minion. And really, really nice game there from Varanus.
Varanus not going down without a fight. Except, unfortunately, I can look at the other decks, and there are some counters to the Hunter.
To the Shaman?
To the Shaman.
I would expect to see a Priest come out immediately. Priest is usually one of the strongest decks up against Shaman. And it usually is a really good matchup. It's not unbeatable. We saw that recently, but we're actually going to see Warlock. And I expect this to be Zoo, because Handlock is typically... Oh! Okay. Wait, he's running Demon Lock. Well, because he's got Doomguard.
Yes, he's got, like, this is a very interesting handlock. He's got Void Terrors, he's got Doomguards, Shadow Flames, Twilight Drakes, Jiraxis, Moltens. It's this modified lock that you're talking about.
Okay, so I guess I'm mostly handlock. I just don't usually see the Doomguard in handlock. Karen is also a very interesting minion, a bit more value than we tend to see in handlock. Very, very interesting choice to take it up against the Shaman, though, because Shaman usually has such good responses, especially with the Hex, but also with things like Earthshock on a Twilight Drake. I don't expect this deck to have Twilight Drake in it, though.
I think what he's doing is protecting his final deck.
Okay.
I think he's protecting his final deck.
All right.
Because he knows that if he loses, he's got his last deck to deal with this.
That's true. And I'm not crazy about this decision, but I'm hoping that it works out, because of course these players know a bit more about their own decks and their own play styles than I do. And
what do you think about the Void Caller in this matchup? It works with the Doom Guard pretty well. It also works with Jiraxis, summoning a 3/15 on the board. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, Void Caller is really nice in this kind of Demon Lock deck. The best way you can play is getting out a Doom Guard. So you usually will have the Void Terror, Void Caller combo. You aren't running too many demons in your deck though, so even though you won't get value from it all the time, you know that when you do get a minion out, it's probably going to be a big one, unless you are unfortunate enough to get your Void Terror called out from your hand.
Yeah, I'm liking this Shaman deck, especially with a Hex in hand. All you need to do is draw an Earth Shock, and he's going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't able to play anything out early. He looks like he has an enormous hand and a great advantage, but it's just because he hasn't done anything for 3 turns.
And not clearing this minion is going to allow a Shadow Flame, which is pretty much what the Hand Lock or the Demon Lock wants to do. You don't want to allow Shaman to get board control and use those totems plus like a Rockbiter or a Flame Tongue to clear your big guys. So I expect to see a clear here, but let's see if he has any other options.
Because you are only up against 4 attack power currently. Like you said, something like a Flame Tongue totem could immediately make it
It's not
insane.
about the damage to you. It's about the fact that you want to clear Shaman. You should clear Shaman 2 or 3 times and you win the game, effectively. And he's going to clear here. This is why I tend to try to take out that minion, even though it uses, let's say, your Rockbiter in one minion. I feel like it's better to clear but with the Shaman than be cleared. But ultimately, the Shaman can still win, so he's going to bring down an Unbound and a 1/1. Next turn... Oh, go ahead, Si.
Oh, I was just going to say, this is really nice from the Handlock to just kind of keep the board down, especially having these high-value minions that are pretty difficult to take out. And if it gets hexed, which might be pretty likely since Karen is fierce.
Yeah, or a Doomhammer coin Rockbiter to take 8 to the face and clear both of these. Actually, it doesn't have to coin, it's just Doomhammer Rockbiter. I think the Hex you need to save for the Giants. Believe it or not, 8 damage from a Karn and saving your Hex for a Giant might be a more optimal play here. Although he does have a Black Knight. So this deck's running a Black Knight, which I really like, in place of a big game Hunter. That's to take out one of those Giants that's been taunted.
And that's a big reason why we will only see the Giants taunted up if you're on very, very low health and afraid. And instead, why not just go for face?
Yeah.
Because you have a 10 damage burst from Doomhammer Rockbiter or from Alakir. Alakir Rockbiter is actually a bit more. It is 12 damage.
Correct. And that comes on turn 9 or turn 8 with the coin. So he's going to be able to pull out 10 damage next turn if he wants to. So yeah, if a taunt doesn't come down or these minions don't get cleared, there is potential lethal very quickly. In fact, not next turn, but the following.
Yeah, I mean this is already really, really strong here.
If he life taps and doesn't taunt up, that's lethal.
I think that he expects that, especially because he saw Fire Element to the face.
Yes.
And Impact has to know that when you see that, your opponent is sitting on a lot of burst damage. You're actually afraid that he can kill you next turn, and so you're doing anything you can to stop that from happening. I would expect to see Defender of Argus.
If he's gonna trade. I would think to throw down the Defender first. Actually, you can trade. Put down the Defender and trade, and then if you want, you can even Void Terror to take that minion that's got only 1 health left and make it add on and then get your Bane. Yep. Okay, so he's going to do something like that. Oh, no. He was going to. Now he's changing his mind, and he's going to go with Sylvanas.
Okay, so he added it up, and the only way his opponent can kill him now is with double Rockbiter Doomhammer.
Yes, because he didn't like that.
Yeah, he doesn't have lethal yet. He's playing it a little bit riskily, but he does have the Molten Giant in hand, along with the Taunter. So he does feel like he could stabilize if he's not killed this turn.
So this is a little tricky, because now you have 2 very hexable targets. But the problem is that that there are Giants coming down the pipe. So if you think you can get the burst in before the Moltens, then you would want to use your Hex here on Sylvanas, for example. You could Feral, attack the 4/4, and then Hex Sylvanas. Because you don't want to attack face. You don't want to bring them down to 12.
But the thing is, if you bring them down to 12, then you could potentially prompt out the... Okay, so he is attacking face first. Because what you do is you bait out the Molten Giants when you're sitting on a Black Knight in hand.
Right, but he's not going to be able to get rid of 2 Molten Giants, and there's also an option to taunt the Karn. So he can faceless the Karn, which actually doesn't do anything, so actually I don't like that. Yeah, I think it's... Yep, I feel like it's Molten Defender.
Right, he doesn't have coin anymore, which is why he definitely wouldn't faceless the card. I'm not sure why he even brought it.
I'm not sure why he brought it onto the board.
Because that would have been terrifying and a definite loss. You already know that your opponent has 10 damage. It's not unbelievable that he has 2 more in hand.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how he reacts to this. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Molten Giant. I feel like he needs to taunt it up as well. Void. He hovered with the Void Terror, which would get him a 4/5 and a really strong Void Terror, and would allow him to taunt up the Void Terror and the Bane.
Yeah.
And he could also play an untaunted Molten Giant, which wouldn't die to Black Knight.
I think that's what he's going to do. He's running out of time, so he is going to go with that decision.
Oh, he can't quite Molten Giant, my bad.
No, he can't Molten Giant, but he can Defender both of these minions, which is almost as good, because you're talking about 12 damage, 12 health of taunt, or 13 with the
Frog.
with the Froggy. With
the
Frogger.
Lovely Frog.
Wow, Lightning Storm looks so good here. Black Knight 2, so, but you can only do 1, so I gotta go with... Oh, man, I think Storm's better here than Black Knight, to be honest, but he's gonna go Black Knight.
You do have to trade away your Fire Elemental. You still do have a board afterward. You still do have a lot of burst from hand.
Yeah.
You don't have a way to deal with a taunted Molten Giant.
But
currently,
no taunt
Impact
givers.
doesn't have any taunt. Yep.
Look at this.
He can tap into double free Molten Giant, but he does not have a way to give a taunt.
Doesn't he have to tap here? If you don't think you can put out a taunter when you're at 12 health, I think you have to tap.
So right now, if we're looking at the burst, he has Alakir Rockbiter for 12, and 2 from Defender. And 4 from the Black Knight.
Yeah. I think
so. Even if you Jiraxis,
taunt or Jiraxis, but Jiraxis is going to lead to lethal. I think you're right. I think that's what you're thinking, right?
You lose with Jiraxis.
Gets an owl. That's not going to do it. I have a feeling that our Shaman is going to have a 12 damage Alakir burst, which is actually all he needs. He doesn't even need the minions on the board.
Yep. He's throwing out everything. He's showing his opponent everything that's in his deck.
Oh, Doomguard! He does clear that minion. That's a nice clear. That would have prevented certain lethal. No, it would not have. Actually, Doomhammer Rockbiter does it. And he's going to protect Alakir. What are you going to not show here? I would show Alakir. I think everyone knows Alakir's in this. Not everyone knows Doomhammer's in this deck.
Okay, that's very interesting. I'm not quite sure how I would have played that, what I would have shown to my opponent, but still, really nice finish there from the Shaman. I think it was the wrong choice to bring out the kind of hand lock there.
We're gonna
hand lock value demon lock.
I can say it. I can show the mulligan now. We're gonna see a mage here.
All right.
Which has a fantastic matchup versus Shaman, but you know what? Shaman beat the Hunter. Shaman can potentially beat this mage.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you wouldn't bring out the mage first, because now whatever your opponent plays afterward, you don't have a second deck to fall back on. I feel like you just kind of threw away a game.
There's nothing to play afterwards. This is it. This is the last game.
Oh, you're right.
So that's why I was saying it's okay. So now that you understand this is the best of 5, not the best of 7 yet. So Disciples usually used to a best of 7 as our second game. So that's I think why you were a little confused.
Yeah, Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Just it feels like the demon lock was a bit of a throwaway because.
So you're saying he could have protected the demon lock by playing the mage?
No, but you're right. He might as well just throw if he's going to have 2 chances to lose, he might as well just play the warlock first.
I think saving this mage is good because everyone plays a hand lock. That's not a very uncommon deck. People expect it. Mage is less common, and this type of mage is even less common. We've got so this isn't a mage that has like flame strikes and doomsayers and such. This is kind of the loot hoarder, knife juggler, mad scientist, Sorcerer's Apprentice with the counter spells, entities, and such. So it's a much more not common tournament mage that you see. So I like kind of.
Are there leopard gnomes in this deck?
Yes, there are 2 leopard gnomes.
Okay.
2 mirror images that go along with those knife jugglers. He's got a bludge mage and some frost bolts. So he's got all that early game kit of parts you expect to see in this kind of aggro mage.
Right. So we saw this deck in the BlizzCon qualifiers from the Fish Owl. Some of the interesting additions are things like Knife Juggler and Mirror Image, which are really nice to kind of claim the board control early. You keep your minions alive from a lot. You are not playing against Lightning Storm at all with this, because your board just gets absolutely shreked by it. But fortunately for Impact, Varanus hasn't quite drawn it yet.
And I find this deck usually doesn't play around Lightning Storm. It really doesn't, as much as it should. I find that they're looking to kill you, and they're figuring if you clear, they'll try to refill and keep going. They really just want to get those knife juggles to potentially kill something, which with it being a healing totem, that might not have been the best play. And I feel like a mad scientist, comes down, another juggle, another loot hoarder, another juggle. Okay, so he gets that one minion. So now he can start going to face, because he's not trading here. This is not a trading deck. This is not a board control, excuse me, a trying to remove your opponent's board kind of mage.
Yep, it definitely gets obliterated by Lightning Storm, and you can tell that this deck has very little card draw in it. You do have the Loot Hoarder. Some decks will run 1 or 2 Arcane Intellects, but aside from that, if he gets Lightning Stormed here, he's on nothing. He can Fireball and he can Mirror Entity, and that's it. He will have the 1 card draw from the Loot Hoarder, but currently, he's very fortunate to not be playing against that. Yeah,
and in fact, he is running 2 Arcane Intellects. He does not have them, and he is going to have to start trading out for these minions. He can bring down... See, he's not bringing down his second Juggler, which I think is a nod to Lightning Storm, but if he's going to start clearing, he's going to have less minions. So I like the Juggler, and then... no, you can't even bring down another minion, but at least the Juggler could get a Juggle from the other Juggler, and then he can... use his hero power for 1 additional damage. So he's going to attack with the 2/2. I think he's gonna bring down the Juggler and pray. Yep.
Okay. And if he throws in his Mad Scientist, then he's going to be. Oh man, he's hovering over. He's.
Oh, no, doesn't get it. So now he's got to use hero power. So he's gonna have to use his Juggler. He's gonna use the Scientist, and okay, he's not even gonna hero power the 0/1. I thought he was gonna hero power the other 1/2.
I think he's saving it for Mirror Entity.
Yep.
Which is pretty strong right here, especially since your the Shaman is heading up on turn 6 when he could play Fire Elemental. He is overloaded now, so you won't quite see that coming out.
No.
It might actually be the Defender of Argus here,
Yeah, I like the Defender here. Okay, we're going to get a copy of the Defender. That does play pretty well around Mirror Entity. Giving your opponent a Defender is a kind of one of the more ideal things to give him.
That's definitely true. A Unbound Elemental wouldn't have been bad either, but very nice that you're able to get one of those minions out before one of your bigger minions, like Black Knight, Fire Elemental, that sort of thing.
Fireball's gonna probably come down, and then another Mirror Entity. Yep, 3 and 2 with a coin. He can play both of these if he wants, and I think you have to. You got to get rid of that 3/5. Yep, you got to coin out. Mirror Entity is really good. Your opponent's not going to expect a second Mirror Entity. Not that you don't have it in the deck, it's just unlikely you'll have it in your hand. So he will feel more safe to play a big minion. And with 7 mana, he can't play an Unbound and one of his minions. So he has to choose Unbound or big minion. Oh, but he gets a Lightning Storm. That's an easy decision now. It will be Unbound and Lightning Storm.
So he Earthshocks the Mad Scientist here, which...
gets the counterspell.
Exactly.
Yep.
We know he wasn't too worried about another secret because it's pretty unlikely that he has another one. And then he's just able to give his opponent an Unbound Elemental, which isn't that bad at all, since you can likely take it out with your Defender of Argus.
And I think you're going to kill the Unbound here, even if that survives, but he doesn't, so yep, it goes down. I was going to say you get rid of the Unbound either way if your other minion survives, but he gets a high roll. And now the Shaman has only 10 health. With no pyros in this deck, he's dead to a couple combinations, but this also doesn't have the what is it, Frostbolt, the double Frostbolt combo.
With the Ice Lance,
no, he does have it. He does have it. Have
Okay.
it, excuse me. So he's going to be dead to a kind of an Ice Lance Frostbolt combo, and potentially, yeah. So I think you're going to have to start I like an Alec here to push for damage, but a Defender's also good. Defender Hex is also legit. Okay, that's what he's going to do.
Okay, very interesting that he goes ahead, and I mean, it just keeps the 2 damage off of him. Would you have attacked face before you hexed so that you could attack his hex with
because
the
you
Defender?
because you have a Lightning Storm, I would have attacked with both minions and then let the Frog stay on board. You can either Lightning Storm it or you can Black Knight it. He just lost 4 points of damage.
And he doesn't have to deal with that minion in the future, but he probably wouldn't have had to deal with it anyway. Now he's actually in a really good spot with Lightning Storm, and
he gets a Frostbolt. He's down to 6. He's now down to 5.
How much damage does he have?
How much what?
I'm checking how much damage our Shaman friend has. If he Lightning Bolts and Flame Tongues, then he's
got
able
it,
to...
I believe he's got it now with a Lightning Storm and a Flame Tongue.
Yep, that's a hit. He's 1 damage over lethal.
5. He gets the Unbound buffed. Okay, so we have this Shaman coming back for a reverse all kill. Varanus will be in our finals. Oh my god, what a game.
Man, we finally saw Hunter trumps, and that was all it took. He had the good karma from taking down the Hunter, carrying him through the next 3 games, and 3-0ing his opponent after the early 2-loss deficit. Now we're going to see a finals between 6-0 and Varanus. From 6-0, I really have no idea what we're going to see, because I have no idea what decks he's bringing. I guess it's kind of it's one of the ways that we protect the integrity of the tournament by not showing me any of the decks beforehand. Yeah. And so he could come out with anything. I know that he loves playing a wide variety of decks. He's a big fan of Control Warrior. I've seen him play in the past Shaman and Value Mage. But in this matchup, I don't think opening with Hunter is the right move, because your opponent is trying to prepare for it as best he can. You're instead going to try and throw him off with something other than that. Priest or Handlock are also very, very strong tournament competitors at the moment, so those are definitely decks that we could see pop out.
And you know, something to note, guys, is that these players can play completely new decks, but they had to submit all their decks in advance. So 6-0 and Varanus had an opportunity to say, well, if I get to the best of 7 versus either in 6-0's case Varanus, or in Varanus' case is 6-0, they could also say, if I get to the best of 7 versus the other player, these are the decks I want to play. So it's a question of they get to choose their decks versus each opponent, but they had to all be done in advance.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way to plan out ahead of time what's you know, what your strategies are going to be. It's really exciting to come into this, and it's really fun to see how these players all decide it themselves. But in the end, I think it's going to come down to what can beat Hunter, because 6-0 Thunder was fantastic. Maybe he's going to pull Dark Onyx and just not even play it, though. Just come out with a, you know, I 3-0 swept with it in the first round. Now I'm going to 4-0 swoop with something else. Maybe
it's
maybe
very
he's coming
possible.
in with
We've
that mindset.
seen that, and that is a very good strategy when your opponent will potentially know your decks, which is why the Invitational format has been such a great thing for players. So if you guys haven't been watching the Invitational each week, one player challenger comes in to play 2 DKMR pros in a best of 5, then if he wins in a best of 7. That allows for the players to see what the DKMR players to see what that player is playing in the first match. But we give the challenger the opportunity to come in completely new decks. And 2 curse members, Dark Onyx and Alchemix, use that to their advantage, and with 2 of only 3 players to beat the DKMR pros and take the best of 7 prize money. So it's a really great format that allows the pros to use different things to their advantages, and we've watched them do that. So it's really exciting, and you should watch the Invitationals. That's why the Cup has been put on as well, because it's kind of a sister or a brother format, if you will.
Yeah, this Cup has been really exciting so far. I'm so glad that we got to see 5 games in that series, because the first semifinal was a little bit too much of a sweep for my liking. Yeah. And now in this best of 7, I think it's going to be more exciting. I think there's a much smaller chance of a 4-0 sweep than the 3-0s that we saw in the semifinals. I think that even if we have an early advantage coming over to one deck, there are so many chances to counter it that we're going to see more than 4 games in this series, unless just something crazy happens. Maybe someone's going to come out with Murloc Druid or Aggro Paladin and just sweep, you know?
Yeah. No,
I heard it on Reddit that the Murloc Druid is OP.
You heard it on Reddit that the Murloc Druid is OP. I love it.
Oh man, but what do you think? What do you think 6-0 is going to come in with for his first deck? I want to know what your thoughts are.
Okay, I'm going to look at the decks he chose before. Well, no, I can't talk about it because that's right. He's got
You can't talk about it.
Yeah. Thing is, I've got the deck, so if I start to give info, I start to kind of get, you know what I'm saying? Like,
darn. Okay,
yeah.
all right. I'm gonna make my guess that he's going to come in with Handlock as his very first deck.
Okay. You
But
think 6-0 is going to come in with a
I don't even know what decks he's running. I don't even know what decks he's running.
No, you're
But,
allowed to. You're
gonna-
allowed to make that guess.
Oh yeah. I can guess whatever I want. I actually think that 6-0 is going to open up with the Murloc Druid, guys. You heard it here first. You know what? I'm wrong. 599 times, but that 600th time, I might just be right. I'll be hailed as a prophet by all.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I've got the proper streams up, and we are having the players. There are potential different decks they play against different players, so they're assembling their decks, and we'll have our game started in probably like 2 to 3 minutes. So take this opportunity, guys. Go on to Twitter, hashtag DKMR. Put in the link to this stream, which is twitch.tv/don'tkickmyrobot. We have the grand finals of this $1,000 cup. One of these players is walking away with $700. The other with $250, and we now know that the third and fourth place took 50 and 25. I guess will all be a match that will determine that. We won't be seeing that on stream here, but yeah. So there's a lot of money at stake, guys. There is a $500, 200. No, there's $950 at stake.
All right.
You know, that leads me to believe both players are going to get $25. From that math, that leads me to believe the third and fourth players are both getting 25, not 50 and 25, even though that's what I was told, because that adds up to 1,000.
Well, all right then. The math checks out, guys. You heard it here first. And it's exciting, just playing a game you like for some money. It's, enough to buy you a couple of lunches. And, hey, you got a good chance to play up against some good decks as well, grab a little bit of experience. I know that the tournament experience can be so nerve-wracking compared to the ladder, and so every chance you get is an enormous benefit. And here we go.
Yep.
Into the mulligan.
We're gonna go into the mulligans, guys, and into that mulligan, I have Varanus on the bottom. We're gonna watch from his perspective with 6-0 at the top, and we see a warrior versus a I didn't want to spoil it, Zulak. Booyah!
Oh, I was so close.
You were close.
Half points for.
You got the lock portion of it right. This is our best of 7. This is our finals. Get out there and hashtag this and tweet at us, tweet at other people, let them know it's happening. We got it happening. Warrior versus Zulak in a tournament for $1,000. There's a $450 difference on the line between first and second.
And right now, this is a terrible opening from the Warrior. He has got to be feeling so down. He has Brawl, which is an amazing card in this matchup, but he doesn't have the cards you need early on, like Unstable Ghoul, like Fiery War Axe. Even small minions like Acolyte of Pain and Shield Bearer are very, very strong. Right now, he's not going to be able to interact with the game for a few turns, and that's going to hurt him.
Yeah. And I got word from Poach, the team captain, that he's going to put in the extra $25. So there will be a $50 third place, $25 fourth place. And you're right, Brawl's a fantastic card in this matchup if he can survive. He does get out an Acolyte, which is going to help to draw cards. But because there's a 3-2 on board, I'm pretty sure it's only going to draw 1 card.
Yeah, I think it's going to get taken out very, very quickly by this Knife Juggler, and this is just such a beautiful start from the from the zoo. You're not worried about anything. I don't think that we can see the Coin Brawl yet because it's only going to remove 2 minions at max.
And I don't think he needs to. I don't think he needs to yet. He's at 23 health. I think you want to coin.
Do you go Sludge Belcher here?
I was going to say Sludge.
Okay, yeah, coin Sludge Belcher here.
But yeah, I think Sludge Belcher's better. You want to give, because remember, if they clear your Belcher, you still have a 2-1, which they'll either have to clear or potentially you can use to win the Brawl. So that's a really good play. That's what the Sludge Belcher does. Isn't that why people say that's the best card in the game right now and the best to come out of Naxxramas? It has so many points of healing. It's got Taunt twice. It's the most sticky and painful and annoying minion when you don't have Silence.
Yeah, you know what? It does its job better than any other minion in the game. I feel like it is a heavy, sticky taunt minion that just got juggled to hell and back. And you know what? Why attack your enemy minions when you can just attack your enemy's face? and feel pretty good. He might trade in the juggler. He was thinking about it,
Yep.
but
We are going to see a brawl here. And do you trade the 1/3 first? Do you get rid of one of his minions first? Because
yeah, killing one of his minions increases the chances of one of your minion living.
Your minion surviving. It would be really nice if you had one extra mana to shield block the spider to get rid of it. But he's going to end up with a 3/2 and 2 1/1s. Now he needs to stabilize. The question is, with a Doomguard and a Soulfire and a Power Overwhelming, I think that
Oh dear
might
lord!
I think that
If Soulfire doesn't discard Doomguard, then he wins. Oh wait!
No,
oh
no,
no!
he
Just
wins.
kidding! Just
Just
kidding!
Doomguard.
He doesn't need to. Oh man!
Wow.
Oh man!
That's all right. You didn't miss the lethal. I didn't miss the lethal. We nailed it. You guys just didn't hear us properly.
We were building the suspense. We were
No,
building
actually,
the suspense for the
I had
final
a feeling
moments.
it was lethal, and that is game number 1. We're going to jump into the changes of stream so you cannot see the decks, and that was a very fast game 1 where we have. Let me switch this back. 6-0 taking the first game over Varanus.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's actually a bad habit for casters to give away lethal because it doesn't give you, the viewer, the chance to experience it live.
Yeah.
And so that's what we were preparing there. A really, really nice opening from Zoo. There are a lot of decks that can counter Zoo. Pretty much the same decks that can beat Hunter, the decks that can stabilize and clear board really well early and then win in the late game. Things like Priest, things like Control Warrior usually do well unless they have a terrible draw like that and then they lose on turn 6.
Yep, guys, I've just retweeted that. That Twitter tweet. Tweet it. Retweet it for us.
Did you do that? Did you do all of that? Anyway, we're going to see another great opening here. Flame Imp in the opening hand, Knife Juggler early as well. We are seeing a bit of an aggressive token druid here from Varanus with some stickier minions like we've been seeing that can make for a really big Savage Roar. You do have to fight for board control heavily, which is going to be the job of this Haunted Creeper entirely.
And I'm going to go into this deck here real quick and take a look at it. Yes, this is the same deck he was playing earlier. A slightly more late game rampy deck with creepers, double savage, double force.
Yeah, he still has things like Wild Growth. He still has, Scenarios in the late game, but ultimately his goal is to fight for board control and then end game with a combo. Right now, though, your opponent's board looks so strong. He hasn't been able to buff up his Undertaker yet, but you don't have a way to deal with Undertaker unless right now you hero power and send your creeper in, which still leaves 2 3/2s on the board.
Yeah.
This is such a great start from Zoo. We are seeing 6-0 with some amazing curves this entire tournament. It's a little ridiculous.
Just a little ridiculous.
I mean, I think his face is going to hurt after all this gridding. That's exactly how I would be feeling after having so many 1 and 2 drops.
My face is hurting after all the grinning. I mean, it's true. It's a really good start. But we've watched Varanus come back time and time again. He's a fighter.
We'll see. I think if he can't win this one, which right now you're already in such a bad spot in your board position, you had the Force of Nature to clear, and you don't clear all that well either.
No,
I mean,
you do. You don't.
Okay,
you want to leave the egg on board. Granted, there are minions that enable it, and also Void Terrors potentially that swap it out for its 4/4 and get the health. But that's a really nice trade with 18 health and 2 Ancients of Lore. Okay, so this is good. See, he can't even trade this minion out. It's at 1 health. And we've got a Keeper of the Grove. That is a great card here. You can Wrath and kill this minion, and then next turn you can Keeper on turn 6 with your hero power if you don't want a Karn, and then you can turn 7 either draw cards or heal up depending on how it goes. So actually Varanus has made his way back into this game convincingly.
No, you're right. That was a really nice series of plays. At first, it feels like Force of Nature. Using Iterate Force of Nature is just a terrible spot to be in. Yeah. But there wasn't that good of a recovery from the Warlock.
No, it did feel like it sucked, but it was a great play. And Varanus showing that he knows when the chips are down how to make the tough decisions.
Definitely. Now you just go ahead and kill the Direwolf. You have a really great trade potential with your Keeper of the Grove onto the Flame Imp.
Yep, you worry about that egg later. You know that the Flame Imp will not trade with the Keeper, as you just mentioned. And turn 7, it's probably going to be, I'm thinking, Ancient of Lore, because even though Karn's a good drop, it's clunkier. You want to use your mana efficiently. Oh, wait, let's see what happens here. This could change it. with a Defender of Argus coming down. Would you still Ancient of Lore here, or would you Karn for the sticking power?
I feel like I Ancient of Lore here, since it's not going to die anyway to, at least one of the minions. You probably throw in whatever you play down. He's probably going to throw in Flame Imp and his egg. Maybe you go Karn, so then Karn can trade with the Nerubian afterward, though.
That's what I'm thinking. Karn trades with both of those and trades with the Nerubian. And remember, you just pulled the Savage Roar here. You might potentially be able to use that if you've got more minions sticking onto the board, which will happen more with Karn. But I kind of still am leaning toward the Ancient of Lore, which is what your original thought was. I'm still kind of leaning towards that.
And we know that the opponent has an Ironbeak Owl, which would definitely come down on the Cairn. Yep. That you could then drop it down, take him out, and then you don't have much value at all.
Druidiclaw Keeper, 2 fantastic pickups.
Definitely true. A taunted Druid in this matchup is really strong because it keeps up a lot of damage, or you can charge it in along with the Savage Roar for a good 6 damage burst plus whatever you have on the board.
We're going to see an Abusive Sergeant come down, I'm thinking, which will add 2. That'll be... Well, actually, that won't... 2 Abusive Sergeants he could do. He could do 2 Abusive Sergeants. So, yeah. So, you're going to see the Undertaker, the Creeper. He now can do 2 Abusive Sergeants, which would kill the Lure and trade in the egg for a 4/4. I don't see a better play here.
With 2 Abusive Sergeants is you are, like, the swipiest swipeable deck, like, board on the planet. You're
very swipeable. I see what you're saying. You're very swipeable because of the... now you have your 2/3s stay alive, basically, but nothing else.
He trades in the Flame Imp since he knew it was going to die to Swipe or to Wrath or to Hero Power.
Okay.
And his board is a lot more durable, even though he doesn't necessarily get the extreme value. He has a much more durable board.
Well, you've got a good keeper here, but the problem is you only have 4 mana left, which means it's a Yeti to go with it. Whereas you can actually... okay, so it looks like he could keep her. Okay, that's what I would have done. I like it. A 0/2 is a lot less threatening because there's no 4/4 coming. The Yeti comes down. The question is lethal possible?
So right now he has 7. He gets...
9, 10, 13. So he gets 13 damage. That's really close.
That's definitely
true.
true.
What does he draw into? Another Soulfire!
All right,
boys. Oh my god.
Let's roll.
Oh my god.
Let's roll the dice.
Oh my god.
So you Soulfire first. You don't need to Abusive Sergeant anymore. You Soulfire and hope for this. Yes!
Oh my god.
He did it!
Oh my god, 6-0 with the crazy draws and the RNG of not losing the Soulfire. Wow.
Exact lethal. He throws away the Abusive Sergeant. And he gets it. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I was cheering for him because he is playing Zoo, but just the crazy RNG of finishing it out was tremendous.
That was a ridiculous end. I thought Varanus played that so well.
Yeah, you know what? Varanus did a really great job. He just wasn't able to grab enough board control. He always did a really great job at almost doing it and at clearing his opponent's board, but he could never grab control. He was never the instigator. He never had more minions than his opponent, and that's when you lose.
Let's just talk briefly. What if he doesn't get the 2 cards with the Lore? He knows that this is about killing him, and he gets the healing. It's so hard to do that at 17 health, but if he had done that, he wouldn't have gotten those 2 good cards. He probably would have lost in the long run anyway, I think, because he wouldn't have had the cards he needs to sustain.
You don't expect the double Soulfire. I mean, and even if you do maybe expect it, you can always play around it, since Zoo is so much more of a board control deck than a burst deck. Now we're going to see Priest up against Zoo, which is definitely a matchup I'd expect. Unfortunate that, or actually no, since there are going to be 4 decks, he could potentially still have the Shaman afterward.
And a different potential other deck as well, because he can play different decks.
Right. I would be surprised if he didn't have the Shaman, since that deck did so well in the last series. But right now, Priest can have a pretty good matchup. He doesn't have the best early draw, though. He throws down the turn 1 Northstar Cleric, which is a bit of a gamble, since right now it is going to die to the Knife Juggler. A bit of a misplay that he didn't heal his opponent first with the Light Shall Burn You threaten.
Oh, right. Yeah, a bit of a BM misplay. And
yeah,
by the way,
definitely.
just a side note, as these two minions come down to the board and we probably see a Dark Cultist, all the decks for all the opponents were submitted before any of these games took place. So Dick Varanus would not have known he had done well in the future with that Shaman. So just as a little point of clarification.
Okay. All right.
Bearing that in mind, this format's slightly different from what we're used to, so we're all catching up. And as we are in a best of 7, there will definitely be at least one more game. But we are hoping this Priest can come back and make a bit of a series here. 6-0 playing amazingly. His RNG is strong.
Oh, man. He's going to be able to get so many juggles off. Oh, but he needs 2 from the Undertaker, and he gets it!
Wow. He's looking unstoppable here.
Zixo, you must be a ginger without a soul, man, because you sold it to somebody. I wouldn't be surprised if your hair turned red after this. Holy cow! Like just the draws, the plays, the RNG. It's all just been absolutely insane this game and this whole series.
Wow. He
He
sold his soul to the devil, man.
Yeah, that must be it. This has been a
this isn't
little ridiculous.
6-0, man. This is a sick soul. His soul is so sick because it has gone on to the dark side.
Wow. Oh, man. Kobe is competing to be the freak of the Hearthstone scene. There we go. But, I mean, really, like, his name is 6-0, and if he wins this game, he will be 6-0 here in the semis and finals.
With a sick soul. That is absolutely true, man. Wow.
Oh, God. Somebody stop us.
Yeah.
Somebody stop us right away.
I mean, someone's got to stop us because these juggles aren't stopping.
All right, so right now he can remove one of the knife jugglers. His opponent still has 8 damage on board, and he has 9 health. There's a Soulfire and a Doomguard, and even if he taunts up his Akanai Soul Priest,
which it
can be taken out by a Doomguard. Then it's over. You Doomguard into the Akanai, and then you have lethal on board.
I believe he was dead either way.
Right. Yeah, with the taunt or with the hero power to clear something was game over.
Oh, and you can you can also
you have so many ways to kill your opponent.
You also can owl it out. Wow, that was our quickest game of the night of the whole tournament. That was a shellacking. The Priest goes down without barely putting up a fight.
Ouch. He didn't have the Holy Nova, he didn't have Akanai Circle. Those are so necessary. Also having his Northstar Cleric killed on turn 2 was a really big issue there.
Alright, so guys, now we talked about how badly it was going down 0-3, but in fact Varanus has reverse all killed. Can he reverse all kill again with this Paladin? I think there's a chance. It's going to be hard though. Yeah,
he does have one Wild Pyromancer, but he's not going second. He would love to have the coin for the potential Wild Pyromancer, and it's such a heavy hand.
Yeah, it is very heavy-handed.
If you can make it to turn 5, then you have so much. You have 2 huge taunts and a big heal. But I don't even know how well he can make it to turn 5 without completely losing board control against...
I'm going positive here. I'm thinking Varanus can do it because he's done it in the best of 5. He's got a strong deck. A Paladin does not have one matchup where I think it's like dead. It is tough versus you. I think this is one of its hardest matchups. So I think if it can sustain here, he can win the other matchups.
Oh man, and once again another dream start. He doesn't get the knife, but it's not that big of a deal since this Voidwalker is going to be so good. And right now, you just don't have a good way to claim back board control. True Silver Champion is going to be amazing once you can play it out, but by then it's already so late, and you're only taking out a 2-health Voidwalker.
Yeah, no, you're right. All right, what would you do?
If you're Paladin,
I
cry that this was your only deck to play up against the Zoo and that you didn't have a good turn. Because I mean,
what about Pray?
I guess so. You pray to someone and hope that something miraculous happens. Right now, you can True Silver into the Voidwalker, which is basically your only option. I mean, I couldn't imagine anything else. And then you can finally use the True Silver on turn 5 to take up Knife Juggler along with the Sludge Belcher going down.
Where is this equality? Where is this equality?
Yeah, I mean, and even at this point, if he like Pyro Equalities, then you're up against a 4/4. You're in a better spot, but you're still not in an amazing one because your opponent still has so many more minions to throw down.
You gotta get rid of that Juggler, man. That Juggler has proved so lethal, man. I think 6-0 has been praying to the god of the Knife Juggler. He needs to. He needs to invest in 2 golden Knife Jugglers because of this.
I'm a little disappointed in how dull his deck is. Actually, no shiny cards there at all.
Yeah.
When we look at someone like Varanus here, even though he hasn't had the best showing so far in this game or in this set, he does have some very, very pretty golden decks.
It's flashy. He's flashy, man.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's for sure.
Harvest Golem, not the best play. Defender coming down is pretty strong. I like this. This is going to keep your board with some sustain, and unfortunately, it's going to have to be a Belcher, which will buy him some time. But at 12 health, we've watched Lethal come out of nowhere within 2 turns from 17. He's got to know he's on the brink. Next turn he can Sunwalker, and then the following turn he can Guardian of Kings. But he's really hoping for board clear here.
Yeah, he definitely needs to get that equality out very soon. I think Doomguard here is probably the best. You're throwing away 2 small cards that aren't going to be that big. You would have loved to keep the Undertaker, but you still have a beefy minion, and you're able to take out the Sludge Belcher so easily and have a stacked board afterward.
Holy light. Okay, so you can... Will you survive with a Sunwalker? Let's think about this. Right now you will survive, and with what's in hand you'll still survive. What's the draw? It's a Sea Giant.
I didn't realize that 6-0 was a Shaman bot.
Wow, Sea Giant here.
All right, so you just go ahead and slap it down. Oh man, 6-0 revealing his true colors. You do lose.
I'm looking at the deck list. He's running 1 Sea Giant. Wow.
That's a very interesting piece of tech. Probably one that's been theorized a lot, but hasn't seen too much play.
That card prevents the
really
Guardian.
Well.
Sorry, I probably apologize for Norm. This prevents the Guardian of Kings from healing for enough. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying that this. Sorry, I'm trying to see what all is going down too. That this Sea Giant actually proved very, very effective in this deck. A very, very interesting piece of tech. So he does survive for now.
He's got there it is. There's your Soulfire. And
did you doubt that he had lethal?
I didn't doubt that the Soulfire was coming out. Not in the slightest. 6-0-4-0's Varanus in what was one of the most amazing displays of RNG and skill I have seen. Wow. Let's see if we can get an interview here.
We've got to change his name from 6-0 to 7-0 because, oh my god, that was insane. First off, I mean, so he did play the scummiest of decks, so he did lose a lot of karma overall because he did 3-0 with Hunter, then 4-0 with Zoo, but he still played them tremendously. He traded when he needed to trade, he went to face when he needed to go to face, he got the juggles and the discards that he needed, you know, all the best plays you can make when you're playing Zoo.
Yeah, let me just go back to that. Let me get 6-0 on the line here. I'm going to add him to our call. All right, where is he? Oh, he's just under 6-0. Great, I know where that is. That's at the end of my list. And for those of you trying to get him in Skype, it's not just under 6-0. I was just kidding. Okay, here we go. All right. We've got 6-0 on the line here, guys. I'm going to close down these streams. 6-0. How's it going?
Hey. Pretty good.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Pretty good.
How you feeling?
Feeling great.
Okay, you want to talk about that? You just 7-0'd 6-0.
Yeah, sadly they didn't want to make the final best of 5, so I couldn't just 6-0.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh well. 7-0 is still okay, I guess.
Disciple, ask him about his scumminess.
All right, man. So how do you make that decision? Like, how do you trade away your soul to the God of the Knife Jugglers? How do you play Zoo and Hunter? And how do you choose that in order to win? I guess.
Just ask Mars. Like, he gave me Wax contract, so I asked back for a Knife Juggler's contract, and that was it, basically.
Okay. Ra gave it to you. It's fair enough. It's fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about those games. There was a game versus the Warrior in the finals where we thought that your opponent was going to stabilize. Your opponent lost in the semifinals, down 0-2, and stabilized and came back with a Shaman, although he didn't play it in the best of 7. He has found every way to come back, and you said no. You stomped it down. What was it really like for you? What were your feelings about it?
Yeah, I feel pretty bad for my opponent because like both matches I had like the perfect draw in like almost every game. Like against Handlock I didn't have the great start, but had the top deck kill command, so that made up for it. And yeah, I mainly felt bad for my opponent's scores. It wasn't really fair.
It wasn't
That's
fair?
what
It wasn't fair.
I'm curious. How do you have the skill to draw every 1-drop in your deck in the first 3 turns?
Oh my god, yes.
I mean, I have 13 1-drops, so not starting with a 1-drop is really unlikely.
Alright, that's very true.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like, your curve, with all the Death Rattle minions, like, okay, let's talk about the Hunter. The elephant in the room, the Hunter in the room is here. What do you think of the new Hunter post-nerf? What do you think about all of the early drops and how it plays out? What are your thoughts on the meta right now and the Hunter with the nerf?
So basically, my Hunter is without high mains. It's like way more aggressive than usual ones. And I played that before the patch, but even before the patch, I thought about skipping the Buzzard.
Okay.
So now with the patch, I had to, but I didn't try it. Like, I haven't played a single deck with that game. I just took Buzzard out and put in Knife Jugglers and replaced Leroy with Black Knight, but didn't test it a single game. But then in the quarterfinals against Ignite, I lost my first game with Zoo against Handlock and thought I should bring Hunter against Handlock. So I bought the deck without any practice and somehow all killed Ignite with it. So I felt like I should bring it today as well.
Yeah, very impressive. A really good showing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's still definitely a strong deck. Like what we were saying earlier, you lost your ability to draw cards, but even though it had the great ability to draw cards, it was still a strong deck anyway. It's still a strong deck now. You can run out of steam. Have you found yourself at any point with that deck, Red? I guess you haven't so far because you basically won every game you played with it so far.
Yeah,
do you feel like it can run out of steam?
Yeah, sure. Like if you have like double Hunter's Mark and maybe a Flare in the starting hand, you just run out of steam really quickly since you have dead cards. But since you have a lot of minions to play, it's not that likely. And like usually with the new Undertaker deck, even before the nerf, you would mulligan Unleash and Buzzard, so you were really not reliant on that combo. So it's not a huge nerf.
Okay.
And what about your feeling on these other decks? I mean, you didn't play a bunch
What
of
other
these
decks?
Yeah, I know. You didn't play it. You didn't show the other decks, but so people know, 6-0 was running that brutal Zoolock. He's running that brutal Hunter, and then he also had a Priest, and you also had a Mage. What are your the Mage? Is kind of a Flame Strike, raggy, kind of late gamey with Sylvanas stuff, as opposed to the more aggro mage we saw from the other opponent.
I mean, it has double Mana Worm and double Undertaker, so it's still really aggressive.
You know, it is aggressive. In comparison to the other Shaman, the other mage we saw, which wasn't running any of those late games, you prefer this style in tournaments. Do you want to tell us why?
Basically, I just asked my practice partner Oscar for last deck for the final, since I didn't know what else to run. And since Oscar plays a lot of mage, I just asked him for the deck list. I haven't tested it. Oh,
you haven't tested it? Good prep. Good prep. Why would you prep when you can pray to the god of the Knife Juggler? Okay.
To be fair, I had to like my Knife Jugglers were really bad like some weeks ago, so I just disenchanted them and crafted golden ones. Since then, they're just way better. So. It's like 1,600
you know, we talked about your lack of golden cards is because we're on a different server.
Yeah.
Got it. So okay, so Disciple and I now will give you some credit. We thought you owed the god of the Knife Juggler golden knife, golden juggler. So we're glad that you have on European server prayed to the god. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay, well done. Do you want to talk to us about your Priest? What you like about it? It's a deck you didn't play, but it's something that I think people are curious about.
Yeah, I mean, my Priest was mainly to counter Hunter. I even added Harrison again, but
I see it.
Like both my opponents didn't play Hunter, so I didn't really need it.
Yeah, so we're gonna have these decks all up probably in the near future if you're watching. So thank you so much. Yeah, we're gonna have Varanus on. He did take second place. He came back from an 0-2, and we're gonna bring him on if that's okay. Thank you, 6-0. We can give you any shout outs or anything you'd like to say to anybody.
Yeah, shout out to my team, to Wood Gaming, and to my practice partner Oscar. Like, he really helped me a lot. So. Yeah.
What did you think of the DKMR Cup on the whole? $1,000 up there for the community.
Like, thanks so much for like inviting me and giving me the chance to compete. Like, I was seeded to the top 32, so I didn't have to go through the Swiss. So I really appreciate that. So thanks a lot. And
yeah, well, I know
good job you're doing.
we try to see the players who have A, come over to the Invitational, B, who have shown their worth, and you've shown by winning this event that you're not just a name, that you've got a considerable amount of talent. I doubt anybody thought that if they've been following you the last few months. So thank you very much.
Thanks. See you.
Enjoy the money.
Congrats.
Congratulations in making it through the Swiss to the top 16 and then to the best of 4, as well for coming back from an 0-2 really hard deck with the Hunter, with the Shaman, and then into the finals where unfortunately you got swept. It was really good play, but you just got trounced. And I'm sorry, man. The RNG is not in your favor. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. I probably could have played a little bit better. I probably should have known better than to open Warrior. Like, he knew I was probably on Warrior. I was thinking, oh, he could start Hunter, he could start Zoo. I'm not too uncomfortable with Warrior against Zoo. But at the same time, I probably should have hung on to the Warrior for when he played the played Hunter and such. But and then
didn't
Drew
get there,
didn't work out. No, didn't get there at all. Like, his draws were really good. He played really, really well.
Yeah.
There's a couple like small judgment calls I could have made better.
Okay, well, let's talk about a couple of those quick judgments. But what did you think before you talk about that of his juggles? Because I was impressed.
I mean, his juggles are good. I've been favored by the knife juggler gods on ladder in the past before too, so it just happens. RNG happens that way, so
fair enough.
Knife juggler giveth and knife juggler taketh away.
That is exactly how. I've probably been punished for the luck I've had on ladder in the past with knife juggler.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple of the potential places you might have made a little tweak. One thing, I don't know that this is a very typical play, but at 17 health with 2 Ancients of Lore, it almost always makes sense to heal up, but considering how badly you were getting hit, would you ever consider healing instead of drawing 2 cards there?
Yeah, like, that was actually a really tough call. I was trying to figure out whether I should have healed or whether I should have drawn.
Yeah.
It's almost always right, like, to draw the cards rather than to heal.
Mm-hmm.
In that particular circumstance, like, I still think it was right to draw, not necessarily... Because I think he already had like Doomguard, something else in his hand, like watching the VOD like after the match and stuff. But obviously I didn't know that, so I like drawing the cards. I want to get into like swipe or other removal in order to help clear the board. If he doesn't have like the huge burst damage in his hand, then I should be fine. But he did, and I died. So
yeah.
Well, it was still an impressive performance, and what I was particularly impressed by was that Shaman coming back for the clean sweep after you were down 2-0. And I'm curious there how you feel about that Shaman deck there. What if you were potentially saving onto it because you felt like it was going to be your strongest, or if you were holding off on playing it because you weren't sure about your matchup?
I was holding off on playing it because I wasn't sure about my matchup. I thought. I felt like I should have won the Warrior versus Hunter game 100%, especially after the cleave on the 2 Undertakers.
I know.
Oh, your hand was the most beautiful hand, but unfortunately...
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where it went wrong. I think there's just a small judgment call I probably could have made better there. And then the Shaman deck, like, it's got a pretty solid matchup against Hunter, especially since Hunter's... a lot of builds are cutting like some of the Unleash the Hound since you're not running Buzzard anymore.
Yep.
And so the Shaman's got a fair matchup there, but not a great one. It was my last deck after using... I thought Warrior would beat it last deck after using it, so I had to go with it. And then Impact obviously used his Handlock deck, knowing it has a bad matchup against Shaman, hoping he can just steal the last game that way instead of using, and then counting on his mage to be able to beat it, because the mage typically has a favorable matchup there. So I felt good against the Handlock, and then against the mage, I was pretty scared, and I mean, that game was really close at the end there, too. I was down to like 5 health or something.
Absolutely. So before we jump off the Shaman, this is a class I hold dear to my heart and I play a lot. I have, since the nerf, I've been finding removing the creeper and putting the echoing oozes is a better play. You generally don't want as many minions on the board against the hunter, and that was such a unfavorable matchup with regard to having more minions and your totems. So you've got the Defenders of Argus in here. You've got the Flame Tongues. I feel like the Echoing Oozes are better than the Creepers now that the Unleash is out of the meta. What are your thoughts on that?
I honestly haven't tried the Echoing Ooze in the builds in that deck yet. The one upside, like some of the builds run like a singleton or sometimes two Undertakers.
Yes.
And in that case, it's no question which one you run.
You go with the Creeper.
Yeah, you go with the Creeper. One thing I like about the Creeper over the Echoing Ooze and why I think it's generally a better card overall is the fact that the Ooze puts everything on the board at once, so they all died at field board. You have no like resistance or stickiness against board wipes.
It's a board clear.
Whereas the Haunted Creeper can survive versus board wipes.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I tend to run the Oozes with the eggs. So the eggs are anti-board wipe with an Ooze down. That's kind of the way I think about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, both are very sticky cards, so I tend to prefer Creeper just a tiny bit, but they're both pretty good.
Cool. Okay. You were talking about that matchup with the Mage. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, Shaman doesn't have any heals in the deck, so you're generally weak to Mage, and especially that aggro Mage like Impact was playing. Like, it typically just burns you down. You have to have the Lightning Storms, and you have to have the Feral Spirits in order to keep yourself in the game.
Yep.
I was fortunate to find... It took me a while, but I finally found the Lightning Storm. I knew he had the counterspell, so I had the Earthshock I could play around the counterspell, and then play the Lightning Storm. I think at that point, too, there was the Mad Scientist, and he was out of traps at that point, so I was really fortunate that didn't pick up another trap, because that could have made it a lot more difficult, and it could have gotten more value off the Lightning Storm. But again, so generally in that matchup, you really just need to get the Lightning Storms when they overextend, and that's what happened in that game.
And this deck is, it doesn't run a Pyro. It doesn't run board clear of its own, like Flame Strike. This is really about pushing. So as you said, with the lack of resistance to clear, you get that clear, you get those Ferals to delay. There are 2 Arcane Intellects and 2 Loot Hoarders, but other than that, they are going to run out of cards really quickly.
Yeah, and that's what ended up happening. Like, I thought for sure I was going to lose that game, but then when I Lightning Stormed and he had, like, 1 card in hand, I was like, wow, I've actually got a chance here.
And it wasn't, and the 1 card in hand wasn't a card drawing hand. It wasn't Arcane Intellect.
No, I think he told me afterwards it was like his second Frostbolt or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. At the end, you were on 5 health, and he had Frostbolt in hand. So
that's terrifying.
1 damage off.
I was just 1 Ice Lance away.
Yeah, I was just sitting there waiting for the Ice Lance to hit me in the face. I was like, I know it's coming.
Well, that was Impact. That wasn't 6-0. 6-0 would have drew it.
Probably, maybe.
What did you think about this tournament? You are the only player to get through the Swiss into the top 16 and then into the best of 4. It's a great format that had players from all around the world, gave them all an opportunity without putting any money on the line to win potentially $700. DKMR put up this money. It is your team. You got through to represent the team. What are your feelings and thoughts on overall the tournament and all that?
I thought the format was awesome. I really enjoyed the kind of the best of 3 Swiss format. There's not that many Swiss tournaments out there. I come from kind of a Magic the Gathering background, a more traditional card game. And
what's that? What game is that?
Yeah, what's Magic? And all those tournaments are always Swiss. Like, single elimination is kind of an oddity in the world of TCGs. So I really enjoyed the Swiss format. It was really cool. I played against a lot of people from all over the place. I played against a guy from Hong Kong. I played against a guy from Korea. I know there's some Filipinos in the tournament. Obviously, a lot of Canadians in the tournament. It was a sweet format. It was a lot of playing though. Played for like 12 hours yesterday to get through 7 rounds of Swiss. Ended up 6-1, and then 3 rounds of single elimination. So it was a long tournament, but a good tournament. Really enjoyed it.
What kind of Magic the Gathering player were you? Were you more of a control-y player, kind of a blue player, more of a aggressive, or what kind of Magic?
Definitely control, definitely blue.
Okay, definitely blue.
typically gravitated towards whatever kind of the best deck was, or tried to find out what the best deck was.
Okay.
Being very competitive, but generally, if blue was involved, I tried to play the blue deck, and they often were the best deck anyway. So
yeah,
it wasn't
counter spell, baby.
Indeed.
All right, Disciple. Any questions?
Yeah, I had a question for you actually. Just because you're the only person that made it to the top 4 coming out of the whole Swiss round, and I'm curious, how do you go in preparing for that kind of tournament? Because a lot of players might be in your position but haven't played in too many tournaments before. Do you prepare for it like ladder? You just bring the strongest decks you think are good against everything? Do you have special decks you think might be strong in the tournament when you don't necessarily know who you're playing up against?
It's a little bit like ladder, particularly in the Swiss portion, or even in very large single elimination tournaments. I typically like to open with like a really strong quote unquote ladder deck. So like Druid mid-range, Zoo, Hunter, something that can kind of steal games, because people aren't necessarily going to be prepared for those very, very proactive decks. Or rather, if they're not prepared for those very proactive decks, it's really hard to come back after losing that first game. They can have pretty wide range of decent matchups, can win against most anything. And then for the other decks, like most of those formats, you can pick like any of your 9 decks you have prepped, and I usually have like all the competitive decks at the time prepped, and so I just pick based on what matchup I need to beat at that point. So like if I lost a Handlock, I'll pick Shaman. Like so opening with a proactive deck, and then moving to whatever the counters are, kind of keeping in mind what I think they may play, if they're a known player, or if I've kind of got a good idea of their play style based on the first game. In the top 4 format, where we had to like actually submit our decks, it's a little trickier because you have to come up with a kind of a net of decks that cover all the matchups in the game. And so I still like opening a proactive deck, just because again, they're not necessarily going to know what I like to play, and so they're going to need to play just a decent deck as well. So kind of going in blind game 1, I want to play something really proactive, and then try to think, okay, if they beat my, say, Druid deck I open with, what are they likely to beat that Druid deck with? Like, Handlock's like stereotypically considered decent against Druid, so if they beat Druid with Handlock, what do I need to beat Handlock? Okay, I've got Shaman to beat Handlock. Okay, if they beat my Shaman or with a Handlock, what would I play? If I beat their Handlock with Shaman, what do I need? What are they probably going to play, and what can I play to counter that? So kind of thinking of the counter to the counter of the deck that counters the deck I play. So a lot of countering.
Perfect.
Cool. I want to do a shout out to everyone who went out on Twitter and retweeted. Thank you to Disciple. Thank you to Waypoint Media. Thank you to Gosu Gamers. Thank you to Fanatic Caldi. A lot of you went out and did that. Thank you to Varanus, to Impact, to Root. Also, thank you to Liz Dolzo or Darrow21. Thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen, all of you for retweeting and helping to get the word out. It really makes a big difference in these smaller events, and I want to give a little props and a little love to all of you people. Also, thank you to Hearth 2P, Waypoint, and Gunner, all the sponsors of Team DKMR. Thank you to my co-host Disciple, to Varanus, to all the players who came in from all around the world. We really appreciate it, and to DKMR for putting on this cup, putting up the money, and sharing the glory of Hearthstone with the world. Disciple, anything you'd like to say to the people, to the beautiful people?
You know what? Thanks for showing up to the viewers. Big thanks to my co-host Kobe and to Kobayashi Maru, and to DKMR and Hearth2P. Big thanks to the competitors that I was able to see compete. It was an awesome job. Really great job to Impact, Varanus, to Sixo, and to Caldi there. Really great job from everyone. Really fun games. And I had a great time.
Yeah, and on that note, just a last little thing for those of you out there who missed the beginning of the show. I want to jump in here to a couple quick things. So first of all, thank you to DKMR. Check out their website and the premium coaching. It's don'tkickmyrobot.com/PREM premium. You've seen players who get the coaching can get through the Swiss round. It's really impressive. You should check it out if you want to get better, whether you're a pro or not. These guys will help you out. You can follow Don't Kick My Robot, follow this Twitch stream here. You can also follow me and Disciple and Don't Kick My Robot on Twitter. Please do that. Don't Kick My Robot is all spelled out. All these VODs will be up on YouTube, which is YouTube/Don't Kick My Robot. And thank you to the so different players and different members for getting involved and helping us out. And yeah, all of those people who support DKMR, and that helps us to put up the prize money. And to Lich Bonerays, Lichbonres, for his donation to the prize pool. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for that donation. That's really generous of you to help putting up a little bit for that prize pool. Helps us out, helps grow esports. And it was a great tournament. And we had Fnatic, we had Root. In the end, 6-0 took it down. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. So Disciple, it was a great time casting with you, and I'll see you guys all soon. Ciao.
See ya.